the M&P 2.0 Compact. Let's check it out. Guys, I get a lot of requests to review different firearms, and when I get a lot of requests for one particular gun, I start to really take a look at it. And here lately, I've gotten just a ton of requests to review the Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Compact. This is just a great medium-sized firearm. Now, one thing that's funny about Smith & Wesson is they've always had the standard M&P for a number of years. I think it's been about 12 years. And then they have the subcompact size. They never got into that in-between size. And guys, the Model 19 Glock has really been king of that perfect size for a full-size gun feel, and yet something you could carry every day. So I got in touch with Nate at gunprodeals.com and told him I was really looking to review one of these pistols. And he was more than happy to send it over for this test and evaluation. And I want to thank Gun Pro Deals for being one of the sponsors of the channel. The funny thing is I ended up just buying this pistol from Gun Pro Deals because this is a really great design from Smith & Wesson, and there are a lot of cool features we're going to take a look at. The Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 Compact. That is a mouthful, and this is the 9mm version. It does also come in a .40 caliber, and it also comes in a frame-mounted safety right here if you want that option, with either 9mm or .40. With the 15 rounds for the 9mm, 13 rounds for .40. We're going to go ahead and take a look at, make sure the gun is unloaded, drop the magazine, check the chamber, and the gun is empty. We do have two 15-round magazines, as I mentioned. These are steel magazines. They have a nice polymer base plate, and they have the gray followers. We're going to go ahead and insert it as well, just to go ahead and show some of the features. Now, this is of course, polymer frame pistol. The slide is a stainless steel slide, and it has an Armorite finish on it, which, you know, is some kind of Tenifer type finish or nitride finish. It's really smooth. You know, Smith & Wesson does a great job. All the laser engraved cuts are very clean, which is typical, and it just has a nice sheen to it. It's a matte finish. One of the big things about that they've upgraded is their grip, and as you see, it's a pretty aggressive texturing, much more so than the original Smith & Wesson. In fact, it is fairly aggressive, just to be up front with you. This really helps at the range. It makes this gun very easy to grab hold of and to hold on to. But if you're going to conceal carry it, especially without some kind of undershirt on, it can be very aggressive. In fact, it's really uncomfortable. Of course, we have our magazine release right here, and this is switchable to the other side if you're a lefty. And then, of course, it does not have a magazine disconnect, which I love. Unless you're in law enforcement, and I can definitely understand why you would want it then. But it has the Axis type trigger system, which is a pivoting arm. A little bit different than a lot of the polymer striker fire pistols. You can see that as you turn it, that little block just relieves itself into the trigger. The trigger has been improved, and we're going to take a little bit closer look at that in a minute. But the original M&Ps, the trigger has always been it's been not that great, just to be honest. And there are a lot of extra triggers out there, but to me, this actually is doable. So, you know, again, we're going to look at that in a minute. Now, we have our slide release or our slide stop right here. It's pretty minimal, and we also have it on the other side. We have our disassembly lever right here, and we'll look at that in a minute. And then, of course, a Picatinny rail at the front with 3 slots. I really like that. That's going to give you a wide range of different lasers and lights to be able to use on this handgun. The trigger guard is ample, and it is rounded off. One thing that I do like about Smith & Wesson handguns especially on the M&P series, are the serrations. They have kind of a scale type serration, and when you grab it, it really grabs into your finger. I mean, you can feel how easy it is to pull back. And really, to be honest with you, it has a really good look to it. Here on the front, they have some partial serrations right here. This is not really made to rack the slide. It's really made for press checks. I mean, that is the reason it's there. So it's going to be fairly difficult to rack the slide like that, but it can be done. The recessed area right here in the slide makes it nice, gives it kind of a tapered, more of a tapered feel to it, and then here at the front is kind of beveled off. Now right through here in these little pockets you can see metal underneath. We're going to look at that a little bit more in just a second. But this is a rail chassis that fits inside. It gives it more strength. It gives the polymer less flex, and it's not going to warp as much. I mean, especially when firing. And this is a big plus for the Smith & Wesson M&P. The barrel is 4 inches, and it is a stainless steel barrel with an armorite finish as well, just like the slide. Now you can see your sights dovetailed in the front and in the back, kind of a Novak style, low profile sights. They're a 3-dot variety, and then you can see the front. These sights are very visible at the range with the white dots. I really like this sight setup. Of course, you can see the texturing on the back slide plate. The barrel does have a crown, so that's going to protect the muzzle. And of course, the front of the slide is just flat. Now, as I mentioned, the slide stop is ambidextrous. We're going to go ahead and bring it back and lock it into place. On this side, it can be a little more difficult to drop the slide. I'm going to go ahead and put a dummy round in here just to kind of test it, not just against the magazine follower. But you can tell, there it goes. But it is a little bit more force that's needed to be able to drop it. Now, it does come in a nice solid box. And with the gun, you get 4 separate back straps. Now, I really like that feature because it gives you a lot of different options to go with. On the very back here, it's actually marked what size. This is the medium, on here is the small, and then we have a medium large, and then we have a large. These are very easy to change out, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Of course, the magazine's out. We're going to make sure the gun isn't loaded. You just turn this little tab right here and then pull this out. This is actually a tool as well to use for disassembly, and I'll show you that. Then your back strap just comes right off. Now, there is a small cavity in the back which corresponds here, but there's a small lip here at the top that fits up into the pistol. And so as you're putting it in, you're going to have to get that lip in first, and then we just bring it right here into place. Now, the small tool just fits in. It can go either way. One thing I found is you've really got to push it up and connect it. There we go, to be able to get it into place once you change these grips out. Just making sure your grip is in solid. Now, the larger grips, it's a little bit tighter when you're putting it in. I just replaced the small one and it was much easier to get into place. So just a side note. Now, included are 2 spacers that actually fit a full-size magazine. So here we have a full-size M&P. This is an older type magazine, but they're still interchangeable. Just slide it over, nestle it into place. Now you have a 17-round magazine in the compact. One thing about this is it's really important is to use that spacer, because if not, you can actually overextend your magazine and it can cause malfunctions. Now, of course, one of the big things to look at is the Glock 19 compared to the Smith & Wesson 2.0 compact. That's really what, to me, Smith & Wesson was trying to achieve, is to get that good size, that perfect size for concealed carry and as a range gun. So we're going to take a look just briefly at a couple of the dimensions that are different. Really, you know, you guys know a lot already about Glock and Smith & Wesson. We will be going into more detail later, but I just want to show you the direct dimensions of which one is larger and where it's larger. As far as the grip length, they're pretty much identical. Now, as far as the slide length, the Smith & Wesson M&P is just a touch longer. One of the things that's kind of an illusion is the barrel sticks out just a little bit on the Glock, whereas on the Smith & Wesson M&P it does not. So it's really probably about less than 1/4 of an inch difference. Now, here we have a lineup of comparable compact pistols. The Glock 19 is the smallest. The Smith & Wesson M&P 2.0 is next. Then we have the SIG. This is the P320. This is the compact size, and as you can see, it's just a touch longer than your Smith & Wesson. The CZ P10C, Again, about exactly the same size as your SIG P320. Then we have the Canik TP9 SF Elite, which is just a little bit taller than the rest. Guys, there's really not a lot of difference between the Glock and the Canik, but every little bit counts when you're concealed carrying. At the range, it really doesn't matter. Now we're going to get into it more in depth in a future video with comparing these two pistols, but one of the things I do want to point out is the Glock Model 19 Gen 5 weighs 24 ounces exactly, while the Smith & Wesson 2.0 Compact weighs 26.8. One of the big reasons for that is the stainless steel insert, rail insert here, which is going to give you more strength. So just something to note. And the overall length is 7.3 inches. Now we're going to take a look at the trigger. The gun has been safety checked. So we're going to pull the trigger back. It's pretty smooth up front, and then you hit, feels like the trigger bar is, we're getting a little bit of abrasion somewhere. You can hear it. Right about there. And then we hit the wall, and then we have the snap. It's not a super crisp snap, but this is definitely better than the original M&P. Really, the trigger itself is not all that great, but definitely an improvement over the original. As far as reset, it's audible and tactile, and it's right about there. And we have a nice clean break. As far as trigger pull weight, 5 pounds 3 ounces, 5 pounds 7 ounces, 5 pounds 3.5 ounces. I want to thank Freedom Munitions for sponsoring the ammo. You get a 5% discount using Sootch00 at freedommunitions.com. One thing I will say about these magazines, they're a little stiff. This is the first time I've loaded them, and I had read one place where they said that it was a lot more difficult to load than Glock mags, and that is true. So guys, as soon as I picked up the pistol, I got home, went down to the range, and went ahead and put this gun through its paces. I had heard already so much about this pistol, and again, with all the requests to do the review, I was really looking forward to finding out what the big uproar was about. And guys, I'm going to tell you a couple of things. The grip is that rough texture grip, and it's great at the range. I mean, you really feel like you've got a great grip on the handgun. And again, it shoots just like a full-size pistol, because honestly it's pretty much a full-size pistol, and it gives you a good gripping surface. I love the grip angle with the way they've got that 18-degree grip angle. It makes it a very natural feeling gun. The ergonomics is just, it really fits just right in the hand. Getting those follow-up shots was really easy. The sights, they show up very well. They're just regular white 3-dot sights, but there's something about that sight picture that really makes it excellent for accuracy. Now, I had zero malfunctions, just not any trouble. I actually went down the first time and shot quite a bit of footage, and my cameras for some reason were out of focus. And I ended up having to go about an hour later and reshoot most of the footage. So I actually put about 600 rounds through this pistol while I was down there. And I'll tell you what, guys, I probably could have shot another 400 rounds with no problem. This is just a joy to shoot. I love the pointability of the handgun. And you know, guys, if you've shot a lot of Smith & Wesson M&Ps, they're just very shootable handguns. And this one actually has some advantages to it. The trigger's a little better. Again, the grip is just a little more easy to get. That this even brings it up a notch. Now we're going to disassemble the firearm, drop the magazine, check the chamber, and the gun is empty. You want to go ahead and bring your slide all the way back and engage your slide stop. Right here's your takedown lever. Just bring it into the down position. Now, you don't have to pull the trigger to disassemble this firearm. In fact, there's a lever, and you'll see that it's actually painted green. Now, according to Smith & Wesson, you can use a small screwdriver or the tool provided that holds your grip into place. And that's what you really use to drop this little lever down. And then we disengage our slide stop and we can pull the slide right off. Now you can also pull the trigger, but that's not recommended by Smith & Wesson. And remove our recoil spring and guide rod. It is a stainless steel guide rod with a flat recoil spring. Guys, this definitely helps with felt recoil. Bring back our barrel, and again, it is a stainless steel barrel, and we have our slide. And that's all you need to do to field strip the pistol. But one big plus for the pistol is this sleeve that's actually embedded into the polymer. You can't get to it from the inside or just the outside right here where these little windows are to see it. And actually the serial number is right there on that window. The sleeve inside the frame is to help give you some rigidity. It's going to keep it from flexing, especially when firing the pistol. And the slide rails are really long. I like that. This gives you a little more slide rail than especially your Glock. Here at the back, they're fairly abbreviated. Reassembly in reverse order. Just take your barrel, get into place, your recoil spring and guide rod. We're going to slide the slide over the rails and engage our slide stop. Now, you don't have to mess with this lever because the magazine automatically returns the lever into the right position. Then we're going to return our takedown lever, release our slide stop, and we're back in business. Now, as far as the price, the MSRP on the Smith & Wesson 2.0 Compact is $569. On the Gun Pro Deals website, they're selling it for $467.99. That's about $100 less than the Glock Gen 5. I've seen them anywhere from around the $550 plus to $570 range. And guys, I'll have the Gun Pro Deals link to the Smith & Wesson 2.0 Compact down in the description. All right, let's talk about the pros and cons of the pistol and just some of my thoughts on it. First off, I love the ergonomics. It just fits in the hand very well. You know, most of your guns nowadays, there's a lot of studies being done to allow these to fit, and it's going to appeal to certain people and maybe not appeal to others. But I think overall, most people will agree that the Smith & Wesson M&P line is really ergonomic. The rough texturing on the grip gives you a good solid feel when you're firing. It allows you to really have some confidence when shooting the gun. Having the 4 back straps will allow you to place it in the right spot for you. It does have about an 18-degree grip angle, which really to me fits most people as far as their natural point of aim. The trigger, while it is better than the original trigger, so I'm glad they made some upgrades there. The fit and finish, of course, on the Smith & Wesson is always excellent. The 3-dot sights, I'll have to say that, and of course with the accuracy you saw what we were capable of, but they were very easy to pick up. They're just bright, they're spaced in the right way. I really like it. You know, the thinness of the gun is nice. It gets really close to where the Glock is, which to me is ideal. With the ambidextrous slide release, you know, that gives you an extra feature, and you can move the magazine release to a different place. I like the extended Picatinny rail with the 3 slots. Gives you a lot more options. Overall, this gun is extremely pleasurable to shoot and definitely a winner, hands down. Now, some of the cons that we have is, for one thing, the texturing. While I like it while shooting, I don't like it inside the pants holster. A lot of times I'll just wear a t-shirt, so this can get on your bare skin, and I'll tell you guys, it's rough. Some guys are already talking about maybe, you know, sanding that down a little bit, or, you know, taking off the edge. But I would highly recommend, if you're going to carry this concealed, that you have some kind of undershirt under it. Now, as far as the slide release on that other side, that's one con, just because it's very difficult, especially if you're a left-handed shooter. You're going to have a little more trouble hitting that slide release. But I'll tell you guys, other than that, I think that this pistol is definitely a 9 out of 10 as far as what Smith & Wesson has put together. And one of the things I always try to say is, you know, guys, don't just watch one review to make a purchase. Look at different reviews, get a well-rounded perspective of the firearm before you make a purchase, because a lot of people, this will be the firearm that defends their life. And one thing I do want to say too is, a lot of times down in the comments I get, you know, Sootch only says positive things about any product. Guys, I always put pros and cons in my video, so get over it. And you know what? This gun, I will give it a big thumbs way up, because it's a great pistol. Now guys, again, I want to thank gunprodeals.com for sending the pistol and for their support of the channel. It's really been great, especially with all the YouTube demonetizing videos and just all the turmoil that's going on. It's really great to have some support from the industry. What I really love is that the Gun Pro Deals doesn't have any link to Smith & Wesson. Whatever, you know, we review, they don't tell me what to review, so it makes it nice just to be able to tell you exactly what I think, and that's what I've done. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Of course, the texturing on the base, of course you can see the back texturing on the back, of course you can see this, and guys, honestly the larger, one thing also they offer are these little, and so I knew that this would be a great gun. You do have some barrel protruding out of, okay. On the Glock you do have a little bit of the barrel protrusion. Okay. On the Glock the barrel is protruding, okay. The barrel is protruding on the Glock. On the Glock, the barrel does protrude. And then we're going to bring the pistol. Oops. Then we're going to release our. Then we're going to go ahead and push our slides. And guys, I'll have the link. And guys, I'll have the direct link to. But guys, I'll have the direct link on. Guys, I'll have that in a second with the. Ah, man.